I can't believe you just called the #1 ranked player in the UK a goblin.
Did you know you could give it go again in the instance there?
We're not done. We're not done. We're not done. By the way, we're not done. We're never done. We're going to continue to not be done. We're almost done. Maybe done. Possibly done.
Okay, so hello, welcome to the FAB Famous. It's the second episode, and we've got very special trio joining us today. Hello, gents. How are you doing?
Hello.
Great. Hello.
Yeah. Sick.
Good. I've got the Push the Point trio, amazing group of people that were supporting us during the Polish nationals, and they were amazing enough to cast our nationals. Thank you so much for doing that for us. It was actually amazing. We're super grateful to you.
Thank you for having us. It was a great opportunity.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And we should say thank you to Sharif as well, who obviously is not part of the main podcast.
Sharif is not. He's not.
No, he doesn't need any thanks. He's
to make that
like,
clear.
Yeah, you know when you got those little goblins that you have in the dungeon, and you bring them out and you hit him with a stick a bit, and then you just go do some work, and he just goes, yes, master, and then you just chuck him back in the cage. That's shit. And that's how we treat him, and that's what he deserves. So.
Yep, and actually. Guys, this is how this episode is going to look like. So, welcome, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
I can't believe you just called the #1 ranked player in the UK a goblin.
He's not number one. He's not number one.
He is.
He's not anymore.
Yeah, he was once. He got to 1,000 XP by grinding stuff, and then he's washed. It's Matt Folks and Jamie Felton now. That goblin needs a wash.
Why do you think he's casting? If you can't play, you cast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I guess let's start. Let's start with a bit of cheers. You know, as we were all saying.
Yeah, cheers.
Glad to have you on board. It's pretty late in the evening right now, and we're recording it. I was super happy to have you on board. But yeah, what you guys drinking?
Oh well, yeah. Well,
Hamish,
you gotta go first. Yeah,
no, you got it. Yeah, all right, fair. All right. Where have I put it? It is a Star of Pramen. The last time we had this, which was sometime last year, I didn't realize how much this is. Obviously, clearly, it's a big bottle, and it got me a little bit tipsy last time, and I can already feel the effects of this happening now. So,
such a lightweight.
Yeah, so that's me. I'm on a Star of Pramen. What about you, Simon?
I'm on a Beavertown Lunar Haze with some.
You can actually see it.
I know, some great artwork on the can, as usual, from Beavertown. It's quite nice. Hazy IPA. Not on the podcast, no.
No, oh, fair enough. What about you? What about you, Sir Wildcard, Orlando Bloom, Tripp?
I'm drinking a Guinness.
Not
this one.
I'm drinking Guinness. It's just like so
later.
plain.
Hamish messaged like 15 minutes before we started recording, being like, "Oh, go get a beer." So I had to run down the corner shop.
If you're
and be like, "What you got, guys?
What have you got?"
It can't get any more English, and also.
And what about yourself? Okay. What are you drinking?
I'm having white dry wine. So white
dry wine. Ooh.
Yeah, we had wine on the before once.
You have wine.
We've had wine, Tripp. Yeah.
Wine is okay. It
it
makes me talk. It makes.
Where's
me
the wine? Where's the wine glass? Have you got a wine glass?
I was not. I was prepared to show it as a water, but
Oh.
As you're drinking,
that's a Simon classic. That's an on-call drink.
On-call classic.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so with that, a little bit of icebreaker, guys. Let's start with some of the questions. Who are you?
Wow.
Well,
what's the story?
Well, when a mummy and a daddy love each other, Tripp's like.
We all started playing Flesh and Blood about the same time, around Arcane Rising, Crucible of War. We all started playing online because it was COVID, so we couldn't go to shops and local game stores and play. The three of us ended up playing in similar events, and Hamish has had a background making podcasts for other other games in the past, and he had the top 8 of a UK event. So he was like, "Hey guys, do you want to make a podcast?" And we were both like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And here we are, 35 episodes later, a year and a half down the line.
Yeah,
That's literally the best way to explain it. I was like, wow. If
What,
it was
the
Tripp or me
truth?
explaining this, it was just like, oh, the truth. Yeah, no, I was going to say we met on this mountaintop way up there. No, but I was like, if it was either of us explaining it, God, there'll be a
Well,
real
it's still,
long
was
still
magic,
be
prologue.
going on.
Yeah.
But the
Let's
interesting thing
summarize,
is we'd never met in person until we'd made a couple of episodes of the podcast, right? We hadn't met.
We met in person, but we didn't.
We met, but we didn't realize we met.
Yeah, we just happened to be in the same room, but never spoke.
Yeah.
I think I met your brother Hamish before I met you.
Did you?
Wasn't he at a Manascrew event and you turned up later? But I think I played.
Sounds about right.
Right.
I don't. I think you might have met my brother, but I didn't show up because I knew you were going.
Yeah,
yeah.
You keep losing, so I don't blame you.
Our first time we met was in Nottingham, I think, when there was a skirmish event up. And then the reason I wanted to go down was because you were heading down. It was in Underworld Gaming.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you weren't playing, Simon, but you just couldn't pass up the opportunity to actually meet.
I met you before then. Met you before then. You were at Manascrew. Yeah.
You just said Nottingham, right?
Nottingham. That's where I am. Yeah.
I used to live there and for a couple of years with Sarah. So yeah, we used to live by the park, Sherwood, right? What's the park name? I don't know.
Sherwood Forest.
Yeah, Sherwood Forest. Yeah. So
that's where I am. I'm in Nottingham, so that's where I live.
Awesome. Good start. So why Flesh and Blood? Like, what is so attractive for you guys? Yeah.
Why not Flesh and Blood?
Why not?
Yeah. Why not Magic? Why not anything else?
Yeah, it's a good question. Flesh and Blood was the first TCG I ever played. So I played a bit of Hearthstone, but that was it. I never played any other kind of like TCG or online TCG ever. And essentially I was just like looking for something new because I didn't want to get into Magic or something that was already established because I just thought it's going to be really hard to come in as a brand new player when it's so established. And essentially, like a lot of people, I think I saw Rudy's video about the game, which is how a lot of people got into the game, was seeing Rudy covering it for the first time. And I was like, oh, it's a brand new game. Let's check it out. And I got the starter set from Channel 5 all shipped all the way to the UK. And then I got involved in an event that Simon organised for the UK Discord.
Okay. What about the rest of you? Like, where did your card game adventure started, actually?
Yeah, so this was the
better go, Simon.
Well,
I've got
you're going to be a
long prologue.
This was the first, similar to Tripp. This was the first serious TCG that I've ever played. I had Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards as a kid, but didn't really carry that on into my teenage years. And just before Flesh and Blood released in the UK, one of my work colleagues who played a bit of Star Wars Destiny and a couple of other games, he came to me and said, look, there's this new game coming out in New Zealand, or it's just released its second set. I've got someone I know we can buy boxes from in the Netherlands. Like, do you want to get involved and buy some cards? And I was like, sure. It'd be something to do during lockdown, something to keep us busy. So we bought a couple of boxes of Arcane Rising and opened those without hesitation. And just you could see from the quality of the card art, the quality of the mechanics of the game. We played a few starter deck games with Welcome to Wraith Heroes. It just felt like a phenomenal game. Like, there are so many decision points, there are so many interactions that you can make work, and yeah, I was hooked from very, very early on. And
how many legendaries did you guys pull?
In the first edition, Arc Rising, nothing. Like, we only got one cold foil out of 3 boxes, and it was a Robe of Rapture.
You didn't get discouraged? I would.
You got a foil CNC, right, Simon? That was pretty.
No,
sweet.
I got a non-foil CNC first edition.
Okay.
That was enough. Like, that was a big majestic, and then sort of 4 or 5 months later, Welcome to Wraith Unlimited released in the UK, and in my first box I pulled a Mask of Momentum, and in my second box I pulled Heart of Finder. So I was just like, yeah, that's great.
Well, I guess you're playing Ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Hamshak?
Well, my story is a little bit more longer. I've been involved in doing the sort of wargaming tabletop side of things for like since I was like 15. 12 years ago, I started up a local gaming club with a best friend of mine called Dale, and that was because our local gaming store died. So, long story short, on that, our gaming club's been going for like 12 years. So we've been involved in War Machine, Warhammer, Guild Ball, fantasy fight games like Netrunner, Conquest, Legends of the Five Rings, Keyforge, even a bit of that. Age of Six. It's just like I've been in the game for a long time, and I've been doing like sort of content creation on the side for some of those games for since I've been doing this is a bit of a passion project. This game came around. It was literally the beginning of 2020. I saw this on Team Covenant because Team Covenant for us is kind of like a good source of news because they were really big on Netrunner and we were at the time. So whenever they show off a new game, it piques our interest as people within the club to see what the new cool game is. They shown off this awesome game called Skytear, and I was like, "Oh, this looks sick!" And then the following week, they shown off Flesh and Blood, and I said, "No way!" Yeah, and I went. I just come off the back of playing another cool game called Warhammer Champions, which was the TCG that just died, and then this new TCG came up, and I went, "Okay, well, let's have a look. It looks cool." And then another person I bounce off a lot with games is my brother, and he saw the video and he went, looks pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, it looks all right. I mean, I've just come off a dead TCG, so my enthusiasm to come into another one was quite low.
It was like, shut up and take my money.
Well, it was. Well, when I found there was nowhere to buy in this game, I went, no way. I am not playing this game. There's no way you can buy it. I've been through like 5 or 6 dead games in the meantime. I was at that point just like, and I've got a daughter on the way as well. I was like, no way. I'm not jumping into this. And months later went by. 2 friends of mine who usually come to the club, one called Adam East and Mikey, just said, hey, we want to play Flesh and Blood. And I was like, okay, well, if you used to a game for it, how are we going to get it? And then one of the guys said, well, I know someone from Europe. I can pick some boxes up. And I was like, well, if you guys are up for playing it, I'm up for playing it, but I'm telling you what, I'm not doing any content creation for this game. I'm sick of doing content creation to games. I did it for Champions. I did it for Netrunner. I did it for Conquest. I did it for all this stuff. I just want to play this game, right? We'll just play it. And then, so they got some first edition, which wasn't first edition, Arcane Rising boxes in. And I was like, man, I'm playing Viserai. Like, he looks cool. I don't know if he's good, but he looks cool. And then that was kind of really how the journey started. And then I just kind of met people like, Tripp and Simon and all these wonderful people in the UK community along the way. And just to answer your question, there was only one cold foil legendary that was pulled, and that was by Mikey in a draft in Mana Screw, and he got the cold foil Storm Striders, and all of us went, oh, sick. Someone pulled a legendary, but cold foil. It was just like, whatever, it's a legendary. Well done, you got the legendary. And I was like, oh, finally, I've got a Command and Conquer first edition. Well, it wasn't. It was just Command and Conquer in one draft. And then the second draft, I got another Command and Conquer. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm quids in. I've got 2 Command and Conquers. And then, as we all know the story, first edition became first edition. And then this stuff started becoming absolutely insane. And I think
valuable.
And I think that's what just drove the hype up. And then I met these 2 dorks and we started a podcast, and there goes my never making content creation, which has now turned out to be one of the most successful things I've done.
Amazing.
And and
what's your play style? Jumping into another, what's your play style? What kind of player you are?
Oh, I thought it was like, what's your play style with making content? It's like, well, I just read, I get 2 people drunk and we record it. That's the play style. My play style, I don't know really. I mean, Flesh and Blood's it's still a learning curve of what play style means in this game. Like, we all understand what aggro is. We recently just did a video of what we think control is, which with Fano Black. And that opened up a lot of things for me to think, and what is control in this game? You know, because we try and reference it from other game points, and it's not actually that easy to do. I suppose really my gameplay, I think I'll call it order of activation. I like synergizing things that link in together, which is probably why Runeblade's one of my favorites. I like to play this, which affects this, and you've got to do this in a certain way of doing things. If you don't, it will fall. But if you stack it all in the right place, it's going to be big. And I love that combination play.
That's a very intelligent way of saying I like to play M skies and attack and then swing Zeta.
Mate, have you not seen the creepers? Creepers.
Sometimes I creepers. Yeah, we got a video on that
when I want to revel.
Did you know you could give it go again in the instance there? Or
Tripp,
I
what about you?
Yeah, what about you, Tripp? I play 0 cost 3 go
straight
again.
Up aggro. I like to call it intelligent aggro. You know, I play the cards. I think really, really hard about the cards I want to play, and then I just play them all. And then, that's the thing. The less you block, the more fun you have because you get more cards.
You're one of those that is like 30-minute timer, and you're like having a second round, or
yeah,
I'm one of those people that's like when someone says the deck is easy to play, and they say it's like it's a criticism, and I'm just like, give me that deck. I want the easiest deck to play.
Yeah,
play all the cards in your hand in this
I want to
order.
use as much as my brain as possible on like trying to work out what my opponent is trying to do and not worry about what I'm doing. I always know what I want to do, which is to hit them very, very hard. It frees up a lot of space to actually think about what your opponent is trying to do. So I quite like that. But it's just aggro, y'all. Simon.
I'm probably somewhere in the middle between the two of you. I flip between the aggro and the slightly more setup decks, but somewhere between mid range and aggro. I'm not into control. I don't like just sitting and blocking.
See, I've started getting into that now.
I know you have.
Icelander. Yeah. I've really started to get into knowing.
You like a bit of disruption.
Well, it's understanding what are key blocks and what isn't. When do you leak damage through and all that sort of stuff. I've recently taken that, and I'm really enjoying it.
Okay. So worlds are coming. You see you there?
Hamish and I are going to be there.
Tripp, are you going?
There?
No, I'm not going.
He's watering his plants. I'm a record player.
I've been to 2 Pro Tours this year. These guys, Hamish hasn't been to any of them. Simon has been to one of them.
I went to a calling, kind of.
I've done my international. Well, firstly, I should clarify, I'm not qualified, so that's a major issue. But no, not this year. I'm just gonna stay at home. But these 2 are going. You guys are gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna send me all the details. You gotta tell everyone how it's going and what's going on.
Oh, we're vlogging. Yeah.
You gotta be vlogging.
So we're gonna be Hamish and I are gonna be there. We're hoping to have some tokens, like maybe some dice or something to give away. Maybe not dice. I'm not sure what we're going to take.
No, maybe not dice. Don't be saying things when we've like that. I wanted to bring this stuff along, and you guys going, no,
nah. But yeah, we might have some bits to give to loyal fans. We have been massively surprised by the number of people in the US that follow our podcast, which like completely blows our mind because
it's a really high percentage compared to like way more than any other like region.
It's because of the accent. It's because of the accent.
Let's say that. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Nothing like a Kettering accent that can really drive home the views.
You could pick up Darby's accent, right? That would be the worst.
Oh God, I don't know what they sound like, but if they sound anything like
ooh, like butch, bush, like something like that. It's like super.
Well, no, that probably does sound a little bit like us.
There is a Midland.
Nah, you're not north enough for that, Hamish.
No, but there's like there's a little town called Desborough, and they do have like their oohs. They're really like, oh boy, that's how they sound. It's really So there is a bit of that, I suppose.
So what about like the meta? Like, what do you think about the meta, and like what decks do you plan to take with you? Like what?
Good question. Have you got a good deck to give us? Because
I think the meta at the moment is probably in one of the healthiest spots it's been at for a while. I think we spoke about this on the upcoming podcast episode, which is coming out on Friday this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, that one you're editing.
I
Yeah.
better get on with that.
Yeah. And actually, there's a bit of a rock paper scissors, a complex rock paper scissors that's going on at the moment. There's some Oldham, there's some Icelander, there's some FAB, Briar, aggro decks. Why is Hamish shaking his head at me?
I'm shaking my head.
Beer.
Oh.
She's gonna get up and go get some more in a minute.
One.
You carry Simon. You carry on.
Right, sorry, keep talking.
So it's probably the most balanced it's been for a while. We don't have any villains like Starvo on the scene. There's no one like Chain taking advantage of having ridiculous banish zone hands, and it seems to be quite even. So Dan's trying to open another beer. And
I'm listening.
I'm trying to think what to take to Worlds. To be honest,
I already told you what to take.
You
to
did,
Worlds.
yeah,
What
you did. You told me to take Fi, draft Fi, and
every game Fi, CC Fi, draft Fi, blitz Fi, and you'll do it. You'll top 8. I promise you. That's my Dan Tripp guarantee.
Yeah. Fi.
5. Yeah.
5.
I agree.
Yeah. I knew you loved Fi, Hamish.
Oh, what? All right. I think Simon was kind of just nailing it, really. I know, I went off to a bit.
You didn't listen to a single word he said.
I know how he thinks. I read his mind. Do you not know these things? Well, I've got you. No, but it is healthy, isn't it? It's varied. Oldham is doing pretty well, but not too well.
Oldham's the only one that you could say, but I personally think it's fine. I think it's okay to have a meta where there's a control hero being on the top, because we've had aggro heroes being at the top of the meta for a really long period of time. So I think it's fair. Like, and people complain about Oldham matches, but personally, I think they're kind of interesting.
They're fine, yeah. I mean, like, I agree. I think Oldham is good, but not broken. It's not like Chain or Starvo was back in the day. You know, there was definitely like a person that needed to be beat, and if you couldn't beat that, there was no point. And I suppose that person at the minute is Oldham. You've got to be able to have a deck that can deal with him, but he's not unreasonable. Like I could play up into him, and it depends what sort of deck you've brought along, and that is the healthy part, right? There's not like one hero can take out this guy like it was with Starvo. You bring Prism. Prism is the only thing that can really have a good shot against Starvo. Then you bring Chain, because Chain is got a long shot, but he could do it, but he can also beat Prism really well. And do you know what I mean? And then everyone else is kind of alienated. There's none of that. You know, we've seen Fi win, Oldham's won, Icelander's won, you know, Rhinar won.
Lexi won, yeah.
I know that there's some odd ones, but it's healthy, man.
We were saying, like, clearly the meta can't be in that bad a place if Azalea can get to the top 8 of players.
What a game.
I feel honoured just by that. Just the fact that that guy just got into the top 8 with Azalea, and we were there to commentate on this. It was just, that was magic.
We actually have an interview that is coming soonish with the player as well in English, so feel free. Check it out on our channel as well. So it'll be cool.
Yeah.
I want to get back a little bit into the casting into the past. Like, you mentioned a little bit like where the passion is coming from, especially you, Hamish. But like, I want to know a little bit about the Push the Point project. Like, where's the name coming from? Like, how, like, you know,
good question.
What's the idea? Like,
well, Hamish is going to tell a story about how we came up with this name that neither me or Simon remember or believe.
Kids are in bed, so
like.
Well, have you ever listened to Radio 1? Right, Radio 1 had this thing called
BBC
Innuendo
Radio
Bingo.
1.
BBC Radio 1. Yeah. So they have this Scott Mills, and who's the other
Chris,
guy?
the Chris guy.
Yeah, Chris guy, Scott Mills and Chris. They do this thing called Innuendo Bingo, where someone comes up with terminologies and it sounds rude, right? But it's not rude enough. But it's rude enough to be at 1 o'clock in the day, right? So I think we were coming up with names. This is how I remember it.
It's not true.
And we were and we come up with names like Pounding Gale, and I was like Pounding Gale, all this sort of stuff. And then I think someone said Push the Point. I was like, and then I was like, actually, that doesn't sound too bad.
it's a fascinating story that has no basis in reality whatsoever. Because
Well, I'll just go drink this beer then.
It was essentially me and Simon played Ira, and people had just started
That
adding
is
just
not
the
true.
point to the
There was
Ira
no
deck.
way. There was no way.
And we were like, that's a cool
There's
card.
no conceivable way that
Literally
I
what
said
happened.
I got used to one, and I went, "Oh my god, I love Bright Ira so much. We gotta call it."
So the thing is,
Like,
Simon
no
knows.
way.
Simon knows that I'm 100% correct.
That was
to
like-
back me up.
Look, come on. One of them sounds plausible because it's stupid, which is we did innuendo bingo and that one stuck, which sounds literally plausible.
If you wanted to
And
be
everyone
true,
else
Hamish,
played
it's fine.
Ira.
But it's not. One of them is true. That's the Ira one.
Well,
Okay,
it's up to you.
hey,
It's
hey,
decided
talk-
mystery.
Despite all the arguing, I think it describes what we do. We just chat about
Yeah, you kind of just saw it.
topics, and we each have opinions, and we like to talk about them.
Yeah.
And somehow we've managed to get a bit of a following, and we are very grateful for everyone that listens to us. And it's allowed us to do some really cool things. So we've had some push the point dice made, we've had push the point hats, and we get to give stuff away. We've been given content creator appreciation kit by LSS, and we've managed to give some of our like fantastic Patreons some cards that have turned out to be quite valuable.
True.
Tripp has Tripp has some ideas about a project that might come up.
Yeah, in the future.
Christmas.
But like
Maybe some charity work.
Yeah, we want to do some stuff around that, which hopefully will be coming up around Christmas. Bit of a bit of a spoiler, but I think in terms of the ethos of the podcast, we were literally just chatting with the guys from Talashar, the new Flesh and Blood Online, and we were chatting to them about like what we sort of doing as content creators, and essentially we're just here for the ride. Like we're not here to like make any money. I think all of us have spent more money on this than we've definitely all three of us lost money. So because we want to do stuff and we want to have fun and we want to create things. Like we've just created a new piece of artwork that's going to go live on Thursday, so probably before this comes out. Like we want to make the most of this opportunity that we've been given because we've had such success with the podcast. Like it's been a long 18 months to get to the stage where we're just about reaching like 1,000 subs, which isn't a huge amount like for other content creators, but for us it's been a big graft, and we just want to make the most of it, take the opportunities that are sent our way, and enjoy ourselves. And that's why we're doing it, is to enjoy ourselves and have fun, essentially.
Passion wins it all. I'm always
yeah, it is very much a passion project. We wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it, because it's too much work.
You guys are casting. Go ahead.
Oh no, go on. You're about to kick off.
I just want to like say like you guys are casting, and like that experience is kind of growing. Hamish, like, you're a little bit more experienced. But I want to hear like from all of you, like what is the most important thing to know about casting? Like if someone want to be a caster, if someone would like to like take part in commentating things and all, like what would you say is a trait that they should have to be able to do that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, we've dabbled. I think that's like, I suppose really, I don't know if I've got the right answer to it, because I haven't had enough experience to really feel like I've got a solid answer. If someone wanted to tell me what do you think it takes to kick off a content creation thing, I feel like I can go, oh, this is what I would suggest.
Oh, politician, just change the question. Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just. I know. Like if you ask Flake or Tannen this, like they're pros. Like they're pros. You can just feel them being like that's like their bread and butter, right? I suppose really for me, it's just be
you.
Yeah. Be like I suppose that's what we just did. We just kind of just signed up to this and just went, let's just go at this like a podcast. Just don't, it's 1 o'clock. Don't be rude. Just be fun. Just have fun. If you have fun, everyone has fun with you. And we know how to play the game, and we know how to be competitive in the game. So we can see the lines of play that people are doing, but we can just have fun with it. because I suppose really that's what helps. But I suppose if people did enjoy what we did, then that helps. But then if you listen to people like Tannen and that, they have fun, but they're so professional in making sure that they've got the read on the other person's joining in and stuff. It's quite a skill, to be fair.
I think for the three of us and Sharif, who joined us for the weekend casting, it seemed a bit easier because we know each other now and we work together a bit. I think it must be incredibly hard for people to come in to a new casting team and be able to try and get that chemistry from the very beginning.
I think you solved it. That's the word, chemistry.
So I think we have a chemistry that we've worked on for the last 18 months. And now when we go and do projects like that together, we can take that experience and make it work. If you're going to do it completely blind.
Definitely can tell that you got a chemistry. So if we are talking about like
I feel bad. Tripp was actually did all the casting.
Well,
yeah,
and these two part timers really.
You're been really quiet tonight. Usually you can't shut him up.
Your answer is like, oh, just be yourself. Yeah, great.
Oh, go on then, Mr. Ethos. Go.
Step one.
Step. All right, go. Sorry, I need to hear this. Step one.
Understand the cards. Make sure you know every single card in Flesh and Blood what it does. Step two.
That was my question.
Don't judge the players. Don't be a YouTube commenter if you're casting. Don't be like, oh, why did they make that play? Understand the players. Like, one of the best things about the FAB-LAB stream, which you could see the players, right? We had player cams for some of the games. You can see the reactions in people's faces. When you're playing the game, you can tell when someone's in the tank, right? Like, you look at their face and you're like, oh, okay, they're ruined. Like, if you're a commentator and you can see that, say it. Like, commentate on what you can see. Like, it doesn't just have to be the game state. You see someone is like drowning in sorrow, make a comment about that, because that's something you can point out.
This man is drowning in sorrow, everyone.
Yeah.
If I'm there like this, Tripp knows.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Step 3. Listen to what your co-commentator is saying and throw back to things that they've said, or like continue. If you've ever done improv, like drama improv, it's like yes and stuff, right? So take what your co-commentator has said and add on to it. Don't just be like, okay, I'm going to cut you off and say something completely different. Try to continue the conversation, continue the line of chatting. So those are some actual practical things.
Wow.
But also be yourself and have great chemistry with your co-host.
So what we've learned, really.
So what we learned is that Tripp takes this seriously.
He's going to be a pro caster.
What are you even doing here? Like, he's just doing the job.
I have no idea why these two pigeons did top 8, right? And then you've just literally just had like Cleopatra here,
Well, I saw it was going to be a Briar mirror and an Oldham mirror. So I just ran off. I was like,
no amount of steps that's going to help this, lads. See you later.
I'll take the dash Oldham and the dash Bravo. That was great. Yeah.
Actually, super happy that you mentioned all the points that you just did. Just want to pick up on those. Do you guys have any role models or like anyone that you like following and watching and just like trying to like, hey, that was cool? Or like, are you like preparing somehow, maybe from sport or esport, because like casting is like super popular there? Like, yeah. Or you should like the original me, that's it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah.
I think subconsciously.
I would say I've grown up watching sport more than, obviously esports is a relatively new phenomenon. But I've grown up watching soccer, American football, baseball, basketball, rugby, Formula One racing. Like, it's difficult not to take on some of those traits from different commentators through different sports, and each sport is commentated on slightly differently. Obviously, soccer is quite a long 90-minute match, and there's no real set break in plays, whereas basketball and American football, for example, have specific time points where they stop and start and stop and start, and it's a completely different commentary style. I would say TCG play is more akin to the American sports model, where there are breaks in play and you have time to regroup, and as a caster you have time to do exactly what Tripp was saying. You can throw back to the other caster and say, we've just seen this happen, like, what did you think about that? And you can throw it back to an interaction that happened 3 or 4 plays ago when there's a down, like there's a slow bit of play, and you can say, well, we've seen this happen a couple of times in the tournament. Like, what do you think about this? So, I haven't been out and prepared how to cast, but actually, I think experience of subconscious integration of commentary from different environments has helped a lot.
So let's not.
A really good answer, Simon. That
that's a good answer.
That sounded. I'll give you a B if I was
Thanks.
marking that.
Appreciate that.
That's right.
We'll go for S, but yeah, okay.
Pass.
Okay, let's not all like make it like rainbows and sunshines and all. Like, I want to hear about like any fuck ups that you've guys been doing in the past, like how you're
loads.
covering them, like if there are any mistakes or something, like how you're improvising. That is fun.
No,
Like,
we keep the
oh,
fuck
come
ups.
on.
We
Like-
don't know.
Hamish doesn't let us edit those out.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I think we're all of us working like some form of public service background, right? So we all like the reason when we started this all up, I knew that Tripp and Simon had a mannerism of like knowing how to conduct themselves, right? Because you're at work, you can have fun, but you know not to be like too rude, if that makes sense. So just by you know what I mean? You get some people that they really just go and say what they say, and they don't give a crap about what people think and feel. And it's like there's a way you can sort of be yourself, but you don't have to hurt people's feelings and stuff.
Mhm.
I suppose really, I don't worry about what anyone here is going to say. So if it is going to mess up, it's probably funny, right?
Mhm,
And it
okay.
it kind of humanizes everything. It doesn't need to be perfect. It actually just needs to be imperfect. The more imperfect it is, the funnier it is.
Funny,
In my opinion, you kind of want to walk into a conversation with people in the room. You don't want this really well done conversation. When I was forming this up, and I think a lot of this, from my experience, come from this really random podcast that no one would ever have heard of. It's called Game Classy, and all they do is talk about everything other than what they're meant to talk about. They just it is brilliant. I don't understand why I love it so much, but I do. They start off the entire thing just talking about nothing, about I don't know, about going to the toilet or getting some food, watching this film and it's 20 minutes in, and then they go, all right, yeah, Warhammer. All right. So and then they just talk about Warhammer for literally 10 minutes. And until it's just, and I don't know why I'm so enthused by it, but those two guys are just the most funniest people ever because they're just being themselves. And I suppose really when we're like this, there's no muck up. I don't know, just drinking and chatting.
Yeah, I think Hamish is touching on it really well. Is that our style is not we don't polish anything we do. We don't have a script ever. We literally just rock up. Simon tells us what we're talking about. Like
I don't even think Simon knows.
Simon probably doesn't know. Like right up until the start.
So for the first 10 episodes, I did have like a.
Oh yeah, you were listening. You were super list man.
And then I realized that wasn't going to fly. These guys just don't care.
No, we do like it, but like, you know, I know deep down you're just like, oh, this, and then you just know that we're just gonna.
But the thing is,
like, write it. Just say something.
We're still relatively young as content creators. I mean, I know we've been doing this for 18 months. We're still relatively new. There will be mistakes. Like we will probably mess something up at some point. But I hope that because we've so far been pretty genuine with our own person, like we very much put ourselves in the podcast. There's no like difference between how we are and what we're like in real life. So hopefully if we do make mistakes, people will at least see us as sort of human and will recognize that rather than us putting on a facade and then finding out that we're not the way we are. Like if you've ever met us at events, you probably realize quite quickly that we're pretty genuine.
I think that gives us an edge as well with things like obviously the stream from the Polish Nats was an incredible feat considering Mariusz was playing and tech support and like tech builder, and sometimes the camera went down and Tripp and Sharif had to commentate on a game where you could only see the players' faces and the scores, and they were still able to predict what plays were happening during that because they know the game and
It just
and they
shows
were,
you played too much FAB when you
Yeah.
can see.
I think we
like,
found our
Respect,
character a
huge
push
respect
point.
for that. Yeah,
They
They're
were-
like, oh, that was a 2 block because
but they were working on the same sort of principles. Like nothing's a mistake. You're gonna make the show work. So
Yeah.
just keep going.
Going, yeah.
Something
Roll with
will happen. You know.
don't moan. Like just there's no point. Anything can be content and entertainment as long as you can carry it with like charisma and
Yeah, you should.
You got
Yeah.
it. You absolutely got it. You can like you can make tragedy like like something to celebrate. Right at the end of the day, people love a good story, and even when when something goes wrong, you make it work. Yeah, 100%.
You should have seen my messenger. You know, it was just like exploding during the stream and all. And he was just like texting me like, "Oh my god, this doesn't work. This doesn't work." And I was asking him like, "Hey, you know, so how was the day?" It's like it was amazing. Like
Yeah,
I'm super
it was
happy how it
amazing.
goes. So like, oh, it's okay. That is good. So everyone has actually a dream. Everyone has a kind of a goal. Like, what could be your dream cast in the future? Like the cast that you really want to make and like you would really like to conduct. Like what is in your head? Like tell me, spit it out.
Casting.
Yeah, casting. Why not? Or like
I don't know.
consider everything could be cards, sport, like whatever, you know. Like what
Oh,
is...
I just had a really fun idea. It would be, I think it would be really good. Obviously, LSS put on a stream at all the high level events, and it's a very professional stream, and it's very like polished. Like I would love to do an LSS endorsed stream alongside the main program, and just have like us and special guests, and just have
British
like,
version of it.
a British version of like the world stream, you know.
That's
Okay.
a really cool idea,
Love it.
Simon.
Love
I
it.
think
I
like
love it. Yeah.
what we could do really well is like late night with Push the Point, like post tournament stream. Like you get that a lot with like esports, like the late night one, which like after the games have ended, it's like analysis and talking about what happened during the day. That'd be something we would do really well.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be a smack right up a bag. I mean, these are just really cool ideas that just popped up from that question.
Happy to ask it.
Yeah, no, that would be really cool. An end goal, a real end goal. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of I don't know. We just roll with it. I don't think we got a goal, do we?
I'd like to cast a pro tour.
Yeah.
I think, like if you're talking like super end goals, like I don't think that's going to happen for a while. But I'd like to be involved in casting like that level of tournament. I think that'd be pretty cool.
It's been tricky up until.
I'm buying you for pro tour. Like definitely diving into your casting. I love it.
I think you know, and
heard that.
We found Tripp's future, everyone.
Well, I think it would be, you know, we've had I think the other thing is that, like, I'm really keen to be really involved in casting, but I also think that LSS kind of needs to diversify their casting talent because currently
they do.
It's very like it's basically just men. So I would like to see like a
That's
more
true.
and I'm aware that I'm also a man.
Yeah.
So like
Well,
much as I would like to be involved, I would like to see a little bit more diversity in the casting talent that's involved. But hopefully there's still a space for me there as well. So
I would also say there's a bit of a
I want
conflict.
some more diversity, and I want there to be
And
males,
also,
females, and a Tripp.
There's a bit of a conflict because we all want to play the game as well. We're all players at heart, and I've seen the same with friends who want to judge and they want to play. It's similar with casting and playing. Like you want to be involved in the high level events, and ideally you want to be playing. But if you get offered an opportunity to cast a pro tour, I think that's also an incredible honor and privilege. So it's a really tough decision. I think we've seen Brendan Patrick, who is obviously a content creator himself and a very, very good player, is now going to be part of the casting team for Worlds. And I think that's a really astute move by LSS because they're getting one of the best players in the world to be commentating on some of the best players in the world. So that insight is invaluable.
And just to like clarify, like that's like a very long-term goal. Like I would love to cast more independent streams, like from nationals and from like just well-organized events taking place. I think it, like we've pushed the point, we've sort of worked our way up from the ground. Like we don't expect success, and we don't feel entitled to any kind of support or anything. We just try to make content, take the opportunities as they come, and recognize that we're here to like build up our skills and continue to take those chances when they are offered to us, or when we're able to get those chances, and that's what we're trying to do. So it's a long road, you know.
I sound boring. I feel like I honestly have no expectations whatsoever. I actually feel like I'm living the height.
Okay,
now.
let me challenge you. So if
Okay.
you would be like, just dashing into another question, if you would be like able to change or like suggest LSS anything that you would like to change right now, do it.
What? Anything?
Anything.
Unban Skeletor and put it as starter. That would be.
Ah,
What do you mean?
okay.
So,
No,
no,
but
what do
like,
you,
I
so
mean,
what do you mean?
I mean, like, if you were like a game developer, right? Like, if there's anything you would like to change in the FAB world, like community or the gameplay or anything, you know, heroes or meta or tournaments, like, what would that be? Because, like, you guys mentioned the casting part, that would be great. I mean, in esports, it's super popular to see co-casters. So there's like a mainstream, and then people are like picking it up and just like either translating into different languages, or different people are commentating it because they have a specific fan base and people just want to listen. So that is absolutely okay. But is there anything you would change in the eyes of like the game developers?
It's
for, like,
very.
Flash and Blood?
It's kind of a hard one. I'm going to sound pretty boring
Mhm.
again, but it's like LSS doesn't. I don't think really all these sort of things in terms of outside of what's happening when it comes to casters and what people. I don't think they have really much control over that. They're very much down to they subcontract off to other teams. So you got like Star City Gaming, Channel Fireball, tournament center in Europe and stuff. It's really down to like them that get this team together, if that makes sense. So LSS is kind of putting a lot of their hope in that these teams that are going to do the work for them is going to deliver what they need to deliver. So when it comes to diversifying stuff like that, I don't know if that's a big thing that LSS can do. The only thing I wish that could be the case is that Europe had something that was as solid, I suppose, as Channel Fireball. Channel Fireball is kind of like a really well-oiled machine, but it works because it's in America. It's just one country, and it's one big, huge market. Whereas in Europe, I imagine it's just really difficult. You got Italy, Germany, Spain. You know, there's so many different countries, so many different languages, so many different stuff. And then you got one thing trying to organize all those things. It's very difficult for a European scene to punch as effective as what Channel Fireball can do. I might have derailed the entire question.
I was going to say, in
No,
terms
I-
of
But
I don't know.
that's a good feedback.
As a
Good
game,
feedback
I don't know.
system.
I think the game's fine. I think their vision and everything's cool. I want to see more classes. There you go. That's my short answer.
my mind goes, and Tripp may agree with me here. I want to see more lore tying everything together. Like, I would love to
I'd say
see.
they're going to do that.
They have said they're going to flesh it out a bit. I want to see more with each set on character development, on background, and I want to see if they can like build that into the casting as well. Like, I want to see if they can talk a bit more about casting, or have spotlights on some of the lore during the intermissions between games and stuff. I think that would be a really good way of getting that information out to potential players and viewers who are interested in the game.
It definitely started that way, didn't it? It's definitely one of the things that made us all kind of really get into it a little. I don't know if you.
And there are some really good lore-based channels out there, like Finder's Library.
Yeah.
Who are they?
I think
I thought they were an opinion piece on Snapdragon Scalers.
I think the to talk about what Simon's saying, I think the biggest missed opportunity in the Flesh and Blood lore scene is essentially like White Dwarf match reports, but for high profile FAB games.
Yeah.
Can you imagine LSS dropping in like 5 days time like Azalea Oldham story that essentially codifies that game that we all watched on stream and loved. Like, can you imagine how incredible that would be
awesome.
as a narrative piece that they would then release, and to make that part of their essentially cinematic universe, and how amazing those players would feel to have contributed to that wider story of Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, kind of like what L5R did when they put tournaments on and the actual outcomes of the events writ the story.
Yeah. There was that big game.
I even cosplayed in the past for that, so
imagine Starvo last season, man. Just he crushed everyone.
that big tournament where it was like Chain versus Prism, right? And it was like the proper light versus shadow, and like you could have done something super cool with that and made that part of the story. I think that is what I would love to see is better like taking.
great idea.
You have access to these incredible stories that are taking place literally in your game, in the context of a game of Flesh and Blood, and you should be pulling that into your lore and using that as a resource.
No, I was going to say, you're now experiencing what Push the Point really is, where you got me as an absolute goblin that doesn't know what it's on about, right? That says crap, and then Simon goes, "Well, here's some sense," and then here comes Orlando Bloom, like Legolas. He comes in with these reasonings. That's like,
knowledge
oh my God, this guy
It's just because I've had a 1.5 Guinnesses. So
well, I just had 2 Star Partner, and I'm
yeah.
talking nonsense.
But that is actually true. Like, even if you look at Riot Games, like, this is what they did. They first created a game. They had, champions, and they just created, like, the huge story ending up on the Arcane series that is on Netflix right now. So, like, LSS, please. That's a good idea. Okay, let's open the Duran's door. I want to know about your bad habits. That's my last question. Then we go into trivia. But like, I want to know what's your worst habit as a caster?
Can we say each other's worst habits?
Oh.
Yes, please. That would be spicy. Oh, come on, let's do it.
Yeah, go for it. Hamish.
I was going to say, Tripp, do you want to go?
You start. We'll do the order. We'll do the drinks order.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I'm listening. So, I need popcorn. Like, come on.
All right. Tripp's bad habits. He doesn't know the word. He doesn't know what a full stop is, but he knows where commas. He knows commas. Everything is a comma. We're not done. We're not done. We're not done. By the way, we're not done. We're never done. We're going to continue to not being done. We're almost done. Maybe done. Possibly done. Not done yet.
Too many office meetings, Hamish. That's what.
Yeah, I know. We know this. That's Tripp. Apart from that, Tripp is literally a genius. And Simon,
what do you want?
What about Simon, Hamish? Go on.
I don't know.
Truth bomb.
Give me
Simon,
some truth bombs.
He needs to do more interviews. He's lazy.
I am lazy. And
He's
by
not
lazy,
no, I'm joking. He's busy. Sorry, busy. I get those words mixed up.
yeah.
I actually don't know. Simon, what's your bad habit? Oh, what was it? You did say you had a bad habit. You say, I know what Simon's bad habit is.
I have mannerisms. That's my.
No, it's not that. You always say, before we get into that. So every time we're about to start something, he'll go, before we get into that, let me just say, before we get into that, even though I'm like, how many layers are we going here?
Inception.
Before we get into, this is pure Inception. That's the only 2 bad habits they have in the podcast.
Yeah.
Apart from that, they're both geniuses, lovely people, and the best people to work with ever.
Wow.
Okay, let's
hit Siren.
I am now going to sit back.
Yeah. So Hamish has a bad habit that can also be a good habit, and he makes everything sound like the most amazing play in the world. Like the fact that he was able to make Sledge Watch into a thing and make Sledge for 6 like the highlight of a game when it happened 40 times. It was brilliant.
20 times
each.
Well, the one had 20, the other one had 18, but he did play 2 pummels. That was like some incredible stuff there.
Which is it's an amazing skill. No, well, it is, but it isn't. If you do it too much, it is. But you make it work. And mine was going to be for Tripp the same. Like sometimes you're casting with Tripp and you want to say something and you just can't find an opportunity.
No, never.
You just can't find a way in. So you just have to talk over him and get him to be quiet.
Like really, guys? Like really? I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just trying to jump in with questions, and you just.
Yeah, sorry, that's us.
She's like, I've got this question, and there's me and Tripp.
Blah blah blah.
Go on, Tripp.
No,
Lay it
come
on
on,
me.
Tripp. Let's go.
Hamish doesn't read Discord past like the most recent message ever. Like you'll tell him like the same thing, and you'll just be like, "Hamish, we literally talked about this like 3 messages ago." It's like you've got like a big piece of paper over your screen, and all you can see is the most recent message on Discord.
I get so excited, and then whatever we talk about, I'm like, "But really, we should do this." And you're like, "Yeah, we've discussed this."
And
You may have even seen this in our chat when we're trying to organize this. We're like, "So we're going to do this." I'm like, "So what are we doing, guys? We need to do this."
Yeah, we're like
you completely missed it. Yeah,
we've already talked about it.
It's all right. Yeah.
The other Hamish thing, I'm going to do 2 Hamish things because definitely there's 2 Hamish things, which is also a
I
good
knew
and
you'd
bad
have
thing.
more.
Hamish can't stop. He cannot stop. Every day he's like, "Who can I interview now?" I genuinely think you will run out of people in Flesh and Blood to interview before. Like you'll just keep going and you just keep getting people in. It's absolutely fantastic for the channel, but I don't know how you do it.
Well,
crazy.
this is the thing. If you leave it a year, you can always bring them back. So there's always a repeat.
Simon's thing is that he needs to start playing Ninja again. I don't know why he's not been playing Ninja. You need to go back to your Katsu days, dude. Like
You got it off. Simon,
you keep trying Chain, you keep trying Briar. Just go. You know.
I'm a fake Room Blade, is what you're saying.
You're a fake
Ninja.
Room Blade. You're not a Room Blade. That is the thing with Simon. You need to embrace embrace the ninja. Go back to your Katsu days.
It's coming. It's coming.
I felt we've walked away from this fairly unscathed.
If we had 3,
I was waiting for murder.
It's because we've had 2 beers rather than 3. If it had 3, gosh, it'd be a bloodbath.
One more, you know what? There you go. There's a bad habit.
We did an actual pause. We did an actual pause there.
Wow. Yes.
Okay, so if you gave me a pause, then let me just jump into a couple of trivia questions that you guys will have a chance to pick up. Whoever's first, whoever's after, up to you.
Simon, you take the first question.
Ready?
No.
Oh.
It's all to play for.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's go. Livia or Livia?
Livia.
Levia.
Levia.
Wait a minute. I didn't even answer either of them. You said Livia or Levia. I said Levia. So I didn't even get any of them right.
So Levia. Like
Like
Leviathan, right?
It should be Levia, but James White said it was Levia.
Okay.
Livia.
Did he actually
And some
say it was
people call
Levia?
Livia.
No,
Yeah.
he actually said it was Levia.
He said he didn't care, but he said Levia.
Hey, that was trivia.
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry,
let's
Levia.
go. Next. Okay, most boring deck is
Dash.
Dash.
Such a good question.
Oh wow.
Dash is a really good answer. This is a classic "what's hot, what's not" moment where I take
Yeah.
way too long to
Yeah,
answer.
You guys
you're
know
taking
that I
too long.
play Dash, right? You do.
No, I did not.
Sorry,
but
no,
I apologize.
no. We didn't say dash. We said mash potatoes.
It's got to be like Fatigue Oldham. Like, don't get me wrong, Aggro Oldham is cool, but Fatigue Oldham is really.
Yeah.
No, stop. Hamish,
Come
stop.
on.
Sorry.
Dash. Okay, got it.
Pause.
Like
That's
the
you.
the thematic.
Oh, Simon, we
nature-
stopped.
Simon!
Shut.
God, man.
Okay.
Simon, you just keep talking.
You
Okay.
never shut up. Sit my tooth.
What hero will win Worlds?
Fi.
Oldham.
Hi.
Okay.
No, tell you what, I'll change my mind. It'd be so boring, Brian. And we're like, boo.
Actually, maybe it's Briar because I think
Yeah.
this is my big prediction. I think a Polish player will win Worlds.
Oh.
Spice.
I genuinely think that. They
I'm
are
saying
so-
it.
Person's
Do
not
a
doing
big win.
streams, so yeah. why
Yeah.
not?
Whatever
Actually.
Pablo
a big one.
Pentor's on, he'll probably. Yeah.
Okay. What hero will become the next living legend?
Briar.
Oldham.
No, it's Briar.
Technically, because Oldham's about to go living legend in Blitz.
No, he's not. He's nowhere near it.
Blitz,
In
dude, Blitz, my boy.
Oh, being technical now, aren't
That's a great
we?
trivia
You didn't
question.
say which
Okay.
format, did you? All right.
Okay, so Guardians or Real Decks?
Real decks.
I would never play Guardian.
I just can't bring myself to do it.
I've tried it multiple times.
Real deck.
Guardian's fine, but I think
Too
Icelanders.
impatient. Imagine blocking, lol.
Okay.
Guardians or real decks? I suppose I'll just play real decks.
Rune blades.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Sports or esports?
Esports.
Sports.
Esports.
Sports.
Nah, esports is fine. Sports is real.
Nah, esports is way better.
It's like saying, "Oh, do you care what someone said to you, or do you care what someone tweeted about you?" I'm like,
Yeah, what do you care about?
What someone said in real life. Why would I care? Twitter's
no,
not real.
no.
Why do I care?
You would care so much more if someone
I've just
tweeted.
lost League of Legends.
Imagine someone tweeted, "Oh, push the point sucks." You'd be crying all the way to the bank.
I would not be bothered because Twitter's not real.
No.
Right?
Not
It
true.
is real.
It's
Not
not
true.
real. It really isn't. Some
Okay.
bot just showed up and went, "You suck." If someone came up to me in real life and went, "You know what? You and your channel sucks," I'd be like, "Damn, you actually came to me to say that." That's
He'd be crying.
real.
He'd be weeping.
Do you know how
Okay.
easy it is to type?
Next
Anyway,
question.
Next question. Dwarves or goblins?
Goblins.
Oh,
Goblins.
goblins.
I love that we're
Easy.
all goblins.
Yeah. Have you not listened to Push the
Okay.
Point? We are all goblins.
Rings of Power. Love it, hate it.
Never watched it.
Haven't watched
30
it yet.
minutes in, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's not the movies, right? We've got to just take ourselves out of this. This is not Peter Jackson's world. Once you know that, you might like it.
Yeah, I'm totally loving it. Okay, Daenerys or Dromai?
Dromai. What did you say? Daenerys.
Daenerys.
Nah,
Daenerys.
No, Daenerys is overrated, man. The only thing she literally went through 7, I don't know how many seasons, and then got wound up by a bell. I mean, I think that's not whatever.
I mean,
You got all the way
Daenerys
there,
is
and
a-
the bell started ringing. She went, right,
Griff
that's
is
it.
the
Daenerys is a
character
complex
arc.
and layered character.
Is she? Well, she was until the last 2 seasons when they chucked complexity and character away and decided to put
Blackfire's for life.
Skyrim fast travel everywhere.
Griff is,
Okay.
is the true heir of Westeros.
Who?
Anyway,
coffee
young Griff.
or tea
Griff.
or tea with milk?
Coffee.
Coffee. Black
Water.
coffee.
I don't drink tea or coffee.
Coffee, black coffee. But
Okay.
yeah. What coffee
a
with
pint-
milk for breakfast, but
Pint,
coffee
pint,
regular
pint of
for
water.
Most difficult one. Focus. What goes first to the bowl? Cereal or milk?
cereal.
There's only one answer to that question.
Cereal.
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 Who the hell pours milk in?
And then put cereal.
What the hell did you do? What do you do? How do you
Wow.
know how much milk you need? That's
No,
ridiculous.
No,
What
no,
a
no.
waste
I
of
can't-
cow's milk. Do you know how precious cow's milk is? And you
That's
sit
like
there going,
a-
you know, half a bowl. And
That's
then
like a real life yellow card situation.
imagine
Like,
not knowing how
you
much
need-
cereal you've got, and then
need
you
a
pour
warning.
half a bowl of milk in, and then you go, "Oh, you got enough for cereal."
I can't believe
I'm
you.
about to try. Okay, guys, I'm
That's
about
the most
to try.
wildest thing I've ever heard. Is that normal?
I genuinely can't believe we've been involved.
Okay.
Milk pourer for
Matthew,
the
you
last
probably
hour.
won't see him, but he's shaking his head going, "No, this is mental."
If we'd known this, we wouldn't have turned up.
Yeah,
This
to be
is-
fair, if we'd known
is
this,
crazy.
oh, right, okay. All right.
I
No,
told you it's a bait. Okay. Never mind.
Jesus. My God, that's crazy. You need to come on our podcast so we can talk about this further. This is insane.
1
Okay.
hour cereal podcast.
She's a serial killer, everyone.
Literally cereal. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. That's all for me. Like now's the time. Like any shout outs that you want to make, anything that is in your mind, the time is yours. Like go ahead.
Tripp, you go last because Simon,
What?
you go. Simon's the quickest man here. Simon,
okay,
go. right, okay.
That's Simon in a
That's
nutshell.
my Simon.
Right
That's Simon in a nutshell. Yeah,
literally in his own world. Like, oh wait, it's my time to say my
that was deep. That was
Yeah, thank you, Simon, for your.
I think we should give a shout
complexities.
out to Sharif for helping cast the Polish Nats because he was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
I just want to say thank you to our patrons and subscribers because without them we wouldn't have anything. And I want to thank you guys for having us on. And Ursula, I think we should have you on for an interview on like mindset in TCGs because I think a lot of people would benefit from that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy to jump in.
You say that.
Yeah. I'm happy to jump into the podcast.
Oh no, I know. I don't mean it. You say that. Welcome to the Goblins' Den. You'll be like, oh my god, really?
Hamish,
Oh
do you have
my
any?
god! Thank
You'll
you.
be like, you come out going, oh god. Anyway,
In
go on, Tripp.
sports, trust me, I've been through worse. That's okay.
If you've made it this far, you probably enjoy the
I'm
podcast.
just still
I am actually enjoying it.
I've made it this far.
Yeah,
Jesus, carry
so
on.
check us out. Just Google.
Definitely.
Can you Google
Definitely.
it? YouTube.
Definitely, guys.
Google.
So,
Look in the yellow pages. Push the point.
Yeah.
definitely push the point.
Dial
Definitely, guys are pushing the
0800
point. Push the point.
TTP.
Oh, yeah, Tripp pushes the point.
Yeah, and then follow me on Twitter. Just me.
Just you.
Just me.
You're the most. You're the most uninteresting one on Twitter.
I'm the best one.
No, thank you so much for everyone that follows us. I think that's. I think Simon took everything.
Serious
He kind of just took it. He took it all and ate it. So yeah, thanks.
Guys, it was amazing to have you here. You're all amazing, and thank you so
Are you
much.
sure?
And
Thank you for having us.
No,
Thank
seriously,
you for,
thank you.
having us on. It's been a pleasure. And cheers.
You survived.
Yeah.
Cheers.